Namo Phat. Thanks so much for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The second mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I will practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I'm determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. For our Dharma lessons, we're reading Ajahn Munindo's book, Unexpected Freedom. Today we're going along in a chapter called Alone Together, with a section called Encountering Loneliness. To speak personally, I can say that living as a monk has been a difficult choice, but that I don't have any regrets. I do regret some of the ways I've handled certain situations in the past, but I don't regret having chosen to live the life of a monk. I feel very privileged and fortunate to live this life, and the longer I live, the more that feeling grows. It's fundamentally about living in solitude and getting to know your aloneness. Yes, monks live together in community, but in our togetherness, we are alone. The structures of the life bring us to an intense recognition of our aloneness and the agony of loneliness. For someone who lives the monastic life of a celibate renunciate, loneliness is not considered a symptom of failure. It is looked upon as an indicator, a sign. When you feel the pain of loneliness as horrible, just as it is, it does not mean failure. This feeling tells you where your resources are, where you need to go to get your gold. So it's something that we train ourselves to welcome and look into. We are supposed to feel lonely, at least until we realize contentment in our aloneness. From this perspective, compulsive socializing or any heedless activity that distracts us from an accurate personal receptivity to the experience of loneliness is seen as a hindrance. There are monastic communities in both Buddhist and non-Buddhist traditions in which there are movements towards socializing and group activity, but according to my understanding and observation of these things, invariably either those activities die out or the communities themselves die. The reason is that the monastic life is essentially solitary. It's all about being alone. The decision to live such a life is made for all sorts of reasons, but ultimately it needs to be made because we find it in our nature to make that choice. It's not right or wrong to live the monastic life or to live a householder's life. We choose whatever is appropriate for our condition, whatever supports us in our commitment to the path of practice. Anybody who has lived the life of a monk or a nun or a postulant for any length of time knows the pain of loneliness, but hopefully has also tasted the benefit of being supported by the spiritual community in their encounter with it. The spiritual community is very important support in encouraging us to go deeper into all aspects of our experience, perhaps into loneliness even more than other aspects. To try and live monastically without any support would be very difficult. Because of this, the Buddha encouraged the spiritual community, the Sangha, to make a shared commitment to a celibate renunciate lifestyle and to support each other in their efforts. If we have adequately prepared ourselves with strength of mindfulness and steadiness of samadhi, along with the self-respect that comes with self-restraint and moral conduct, then we can embrace the energetic reality of loneliness. Instead of thinking, I feel lonely, what can I do to get rid of this feeling of loneliness? I'll write an email, read a book, or ring somebody up. We open up to receive, without any judgment or analysis, the feeling of loneliness. To be encouraged to do that is a wonderful thing and is very much a part of what the spiritual community is about. As a householder or a layperson, it is not necessarily the case that you will be forced to confront loneliness in the same manner as a monk or a nun will be. Living with a partner in a committed relationship, for example, in many cases with children as well, brings a very different experience altogether. Assuming that such a relationship is not destructive or dysfunctional, there will be a sense of companionship, close, intimate companionship. Since the last close, intimate companionship I had was about 30 years ago, there is little I can say about that. But from what people tell me, committing to a close relationship doesn't protect anyone from the pain of loneliness. So whatever our lifestyle choice, all of us who are committed to practice are called to go deeply into this experience and find our own way to a resolution. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. Namo Adida Phat. Thanks so much for joining me today.